Good afternoon and welcome. I'm delighted you have joined me on this glorious Sunday afternoon. I don't know what the temperature is, 70, 75 degrees, there's no breeze at all. It's a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. Now, I'm telling you this, I hear the UK weather is very good today as well, but come on down here, for goodness sake, and have a great time and come and live among us. I just might have a property for you. But let's not talk about that. Last night, of course, the celebration of the Eurovision Song Contest 2024. What a country. Very political, wasn't it? Yes, extremely political and odd. The winner was Switzerland. I sort of chose as one of my favourite songs. Croatia was definitely a favourite for me. I thought Croatia would win. But it was Nemo who won for Switzerland. He called himself, what's the word? Me thing fell out, sorry. Give you a fright, did it? Non-binary. What does that non-binary? Yeah, it's he doesn't identify himself as a man or a woman. Jesus, I know when I went to school, there was never such nonsense. No, I didn't have someone sitting next door to me and didn't know whether he was a man, as woman, or a woman. Look, to me, this is their business. They want to get on with that here. But, to me, if you're born with a penis, you're a man. If you're born with a vagina, you're a woman. End of. You do what you want in your private there. Say, I'm a camel, or I'm a pussycat, or I'm a frog. You call yourself whatever you want. But I think it's all. I'm not saying bullshit because they actually believe all of this. The Irish singer last night, what was her name? Bambi Thug, was it? Someone wrote into me and said, hello, Morris, was it Halloween last night? I mean, it is a bit ridiculous, the contest. It used to be a family thing you'd watch, but it's not family at all, is it? No, not at all, not at all, not at all. Just mentioning someone there, I bumped in again today, someone said, I was listening to you last night about the anti-vaxxers. Would you mind to ask them what happened to Bill Gates' microchip? What happened? Remember, we were all warned that Bill Gates, going to put the vaccine would be a microchip, and then he'd control our lives. What happened to that? Madness, wasn't it? It's absolute madness. Anyway, just continuing on from what I was talking about yesterday also was the Balearic Islands, these new rules. No drinking after 9:15, was it 9:30 to 8 a.m. in the morning. They're now putting fines of 1,500 if you're caught drinking in the street. Yeah, bottle of beer there, bottle of beer. Isn't that normal with youngsters walking around the street with a bottle of beer? Now you got a fine of 1,500 euros if you're caught, or is it pounds, one or the other? Is it killing Ibiza and the tourist trade, is it? Or maybe it's replacing it. Maybe they're doing the right thing. I mean, I don't think we should have a pub crawling holiday resort. I mean, no, I don't agree with that. So maybe they're doing the right thing. Maybe they know what they're doing. And just very quickly, I noticed before coming on air, whatever you want to call this, that Lord David Cameron is accusing the BBC for not calling Hamas terrorists. What bloody time someone told him, what do you think they are, ballet dancers? I love when they call them freedom fighters. Oh, that's a good one. Anyway, just moving away from politics, I was reading an article about Cynthia Lennon, about the time that John just dropped her like a ton of bricks and replaced her by Yoko. She'd come here, and maybe when you see this video is going to go direct to my YouTube channel. I'm going to try it anyway. She came here to come on my TV show, Bold and Live, I think it was called at the time, and she was one of my guests, and I was so happy. I don't hide the fact that I'm a huge Beatle fan, and to have John Lennon's wife here telling us tales on air, she was absolutely super, absolutely super. But she told me the story, I think, whether she told it me on air or whether she told it me when we were having lunch or whatever, that she went to Greece. John suggested that she goes to Greece on a holiday. Should you, you need a holiday, go to Greece with your, I think she brought young, was it Sean? No, Julian. Julian's her son. Sean was Yoko's son, that's right. And go off to Greece on your holiday. And she went on her holiday to Greece. And she came back to their home in Weybridge, I think it was. And she turned up, opened the door, walked out. And there on the terrace, she told me, was Yoko Ono in her dressing gown having breakfast with John. Now, you'd think if a husband was caught, by the way, Yoko used to hang around the gate of John's house. She was one of they were called apple cores. They was the young fans, or not young, but fans that hung around the Beatles, and she would hang around the gate of John Lennon's house. But anyway, she was there having breakfast. Now, you think any husband would jump up and, oh, Cynthia, I'm very, this is Yoko, and she's coming to clean the house, and she's in your dressing gown, or something. He made no secret of it. In fact, he more or less said to Cynthia, pack your bags, get out. Very cruel indeed. But she came down here anyway, and she went on my show. I think twice she came down to be on my show, and she was absolutely delightful. I always remember after the show, we were having a conversation after lunch, and she said to me, are you a billionaire? I said, I'm not a billionaire, nor am I a millionaire, or not even close to it. She said, you'd need to be. I said, why? She said, I noticed when you were talking to me on air that you showed some video of the Beatles. I said, I did. She said, you know those videos are owned by Yoko Ono, and they're like 30,000 a second to use them. Oh, he said, Jesus, let's get them off immediately before it goes out in air. But she had a nice sense of humour as well. She was just a generally nice person. But the other connection I had with the Beatles was Mike McGear, he called himself, Mike McCartney. He was in a band called, the song was Lily the Pink, and the band were called Scaffold. And I remember I flew him down as a guest on my TV show, and I remember him saying to me, I don't want to talk about our kid. And he kept telling me over the dinner the night. See, I always had them come down, I think it was on a Tuesday night, and they came to my home for dinner, and then we'd be on the show. It was live, 2 hours, a live show. It certainly wasn't the first English TV show here, but it was Martin Wood's production with Nessie, of course. A great crew. I loved working with Martin and Nessie. But I remember him telling me, I don't want to be speaking about Paul on air. Don't forget scaffolding. Scaffold were much bigger than the Beatles. Well, he didn't actually say that. I think he told me Lily the Pink or Aintree Iron or whatever was a bigger hit than Yesterday. Some nonsense. And if it wasn't for our kids, the Beatles would be nothing. The Beatles were something because of the connection of four people who gelled into each other. That was it. Anyway, he said, let's not talk about that. Let's talk. Jesus, my headphone keeps falling out here. Let's keep. Did that bang give you a fright when it fell on the glass table? Let's talk about Scaffold. And I said, oh, well, of course, you couldn't disagree with him. Anyway, I brought him out on stage, on set, and he goes out and he immediately starts talking about him and the Beatles. I mean, the whole time. Hardly spoke about Scaffold. And then we went for lunch afterwards, as we normally do. And I swear to you, I don't know how, or just the coincidence. The coincidence was that there was a Beatles song playing in the restaurant we went into. And he goes over, that's me brother, I'm Paul McCartney's brother, Mike McCartney, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, nothing wrong. I don't see anything wrong with that. But he made it a point that he wanted to be himself, that he wanted to be the big star himself, and yet he was going on and on. He wasn't a bad guy, not at all. The worst guest I ever had on television, was Alex Hurricane Higgins. He was the worst. I remember him arriving here on the Tuesday again, and he arrived with a friend. Alex didn't do any driving, and the friend was to drive him around. And, over the dinner, I sort of went out to another room and said to a friend, please keep him off the booze until we finished the show. The show, I think, went out, from what I remember, 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock or something. It was a 1 hour show. It was a 1 hour show, not 2 hours, I think. But could you, in the morning, could you keep me? He said, no problem, I'll keep him off the booze, no problem. I said, thank you for that. Anyway, I'm sure they went out that night and got langered or whatever. But anyway, the next day, I'm in on the set. The show had started before he had arrived. I can't remember who my guests were on that particular show. Mr. Motivator, maybe, I can't remember. But it's fun, done in front of a live audience. Got my ear on the phone out. Done in front of a live audience in studios in Malaga, quite a big studios. And so let's say it's Mr. Motivator. I'm chatting to him on air, and I could hear a kerfuffle on the back of the studio. I couldn't see it because the back of the amount of studio lights sort of blind you, and there's this sort of kerfuffle going on. And what happened in a commercial break was that Alex had arrived. He had a bottle of champagne he was drinking from, so he was on his way. And there was a closed set there. You know what a closed set is? That they were shooting some soap opera in Malaga, Spanish Coronation Street, say. So when they finish filming that day, everything is left in the same place as it was. So when they pick up the next day filming, that's called a closed set. So seemingly Alex went over the barrier and sat on the sofa and put his feet up and started drinking. And the security guards came to say, sorry, sir, you can't sit there. And seemingly Alex didn't like being told what he couldn't or shouldn't sit. And he started a row with them. And that's what the kerfuffle was all about. And I don't know if I have the shot, not of the kerfuffle, but you could see when he came on the show, he started at the dance hall. I can't remember what they were, sort of very early shows in my life on TV. But there's some great memories, and I enjoyed it very much. But I just want to say I enjoy radio a lot more than I enjoy television. I don't know what it is, but your headphones don't fall out like that all the time. Anyway, I wish you farewell before I frighten the bejesus out of you anymore with it falling out, and wish you a very happy Sunday. And we're going to try to put this directly on YouTube and a connection from our social media to the YouTube. So we'll see what we can do. Have a great day. And thanks for joining us. Now, without any producer or director or anything special, I have to switch myself off.